Sometimes you work quietly in the background on something and it matters. And it might matter to you what I've been working on after so many years of learning what it means to interact with YouTube and to bring forth the story of legacy. I've been working on something that I believe is a newish way of bringing ideas, insights, interpretations, investigations about legacy forward that could be of value to you. And so I would just ask you to sit back, if you've got a drink, have a cup of coffee or a glass of water, and just listen in as I share some ideas based on the work that I have been playing around with and seeing if it helps you at all. So, this notion of legacy is an important element for those of us who are 60 plus. Hey, I'm 71 years young, enjoying life, and moved into this whole story of legacy when I was in my 60s. And I was looking for what did I want to work on as I was moving forward. Legacy popped up. I thought it was going to be around legacy and grandparents, legacy and how to help grandparents figure out ways in which to get their grandkids involved in the outdoors. Now, some aspects of that are still floating along with me, but there's been a shift in terms of the audience, yes, but the way in which I want to bring it forward. So there's a couple of things that would sort of anchor what I want to share with you today. The first one is legacy pathway. And I believe that there is a pathway that you can follow if you're new to legacy, just getting started with legacy, and even if you are moving on your legacy contributions or projects. And by this legacy pathway, I'm suggesting there's five pillars. The first one is around coming to understand, to know who you are as a person, your health and wealth aspects, bringing that together so that you can say to yourself, okay, as I move forward, what do I know about who am I? From there, move into understanding about living a legacy life and what is legacy and what does it mean for the life that you're living. And legacy being about the useful what's that you gift others so they may learn something from you. And those useful what's are time, effort, and money. So, how you put your time, effort, and money in play, how you allocate them, is an indicator of the legacy story that you're going to live to leave. And when you come to understand that and the different aspects of that, then you can make some grounded decisions about what you want to move forward with. Two things important: what your intention, what you want to improve, focus, and strengthen. And the other one is taking a look at what it is that you have accomplished with others, achieved for yourself, looking at the evidence of that, the education approaches that you would use if you were to share that through other experiences. I call that the 3E catalyst. And when you bring that all together, it gives you a portfolio, a process folio, practice folio, and a product folio. And I'll go into that in a lot more detail as time goes by. And with that, what we do is you move into living legacy stories, because I believe it's the pivot point that you work with, because with the story that you wish to share about what you want to improve, focus, and strengthen from the future into your present, then you'll lean into contributions, living legacy contributions, which are more about your unique journey. Then there's living legacy projects, which is about your adventures together with others. And it's not to say that they don't weave in and out. That's actually a great way in which to do it. But coming to understand that living legacy contributions is about you sharing who you are with a select group of persons. Now, they could be family, friends, or even making a book that could go out that touches individuals head, heart, and hands. But the Living Legacy Project means you're going to interact with others. So you're going to have recipients, supporters, contributors. You might use a word like stakeholders, or you're going to use project management, these kind of terms. So again, they can weave in and out. And then that leads you into Living Legacy somewhere. Let me give you an example: Living Legacy Outdoors. So I'm leaning into this legacy story, living this legacy story as contributions and projects in the outdoors, especially with educators who are involved in the outdoors or nature inspired champions of writing about nature. So, living legacy outdoors could become living legacy grandparents, living legacy business, living legacy crocheting, living legacy sculpting, living legacy surfing. There are ways in which to take a look at that time and location and putting that with living legacy, and you end up with that fourth one. And the next one is, of all of what it is that you've been thinking about and you're conceptualizing, putting it into action. And what does that look like? It could be the sense of, okay, I'm going to develop it, I'm going to deliver it, I'm going to determine if it landed, is it of use, is it helpful, and just putting it in play for yourself. Now, along that path, you start to come to understand what it means to mentor and celebrate and appreciate and navigate all these kind of educational terms. And so they'll be brought to the foreground as well, because that's how you're going to engage people along that pathway. And then be willing to entertain, encourage, listen to the feed forward that you're going to receive from those that you interact with, including yourself through reflection. So when I bring that all together, that's what I've been working on. But I said to myself, okay, great. That could be like any other channel of people talking about their health and wellness, to how to figure out your wealth distribution from a legacy point of view. What are you going to do with the money that you've made? There's all different kinds of videos like that. But I said to myself, you know what? Here's where I'd like to throw that pebble into the pond. And maybe this is something for you to think about, is that these small acts that get these big ripples, they are important, I think, in our lives. Do you agree? Let me know in the comments section. Maybe you have a stone that you want to throw to create that ripple in the pond. I'd love to know what that is as well. And for me, what I did was I said, how do I want to bring all of this out? And this is where I'm having the fun of my life, the freedom, the fulfillment, which I would encourage for you as well, is can you find that in living your legacy life and finding the contributions and projects? So let me share with you the following. There are what are called social media channels. We use them all the time, all the different kinds of channels there are. But there's another term that one can add into it. It's called transmedia. And what it means is creating a narrative or story that goes across all different kinds of media platforms. So there's social media, but there's TV, there are screenplays, there for movies, there are stage plays, there are interpretive dance and interpretations that can be done around the campfire, at a campground. There's all different kinds of media channels that you can play with. And so I said, that's great. I've been wanting to do some things with virtual reality for a while and augmented reality. I've been wanting to write a novel, children's books. Okay, there's different platforms there. But what I came to really appreciate was I find myself in my 71st revolution of the sun. I will have so loved, if I had thought about it years ago, to grab one of those vans and drive across the country, around the world, filming, writing, doing all those kind of things, or maybe going Portugal, Spain, finding a homestead, the brick homestead, reconverting it, a chateau in France, um, destinations where I film at and bring back a summary and put it up on YouTube. Isn't that what YouTube has a lot of these days? I have different channels I watch because I so enjoy them. And I said, okay, could I do something that modifies that? And this is where I took a little bit of that time into the background, went a little quiet. I still publish my shorts, and I would encourage you to grab those shorts because they're great writing prompts for your journal or stories that you want to write. And down below is the link to that playlist. Well, what came about was I created a town, an imaginary town called Solace Grove. And it's a town that's in the eastern slope of the Rockies. And from it, I'm introducing characters through which, through whom, through them, I can share different ideas about living legacy life, living legacy stories, contributions, projects, living legacy, in this case, the out of doors, but there will be reference to other kinds of living legacy time and locations. But with Solace Grove, I get an opportunity to really use that transmedia platform across it. So I'm going to be using YouTube videos. I am going to be using my blog. I am creating my own online magazine at full moon, new moon, and having some fun with that in terms of sharing insights and interpretations, investigations through that. Because what I'm going to be able to do is through these characters, in a sense, being the narrator, is that I can bring to the foreground what I think are three major issues that we 60 plus are finding ourselves, they're coming up for us. Now, there is the loneliness and there's the depression, the mental health, there's the physical health that sometimes creeps up on us and we don't move as fast, don't walk as far, these kind of things. But there's lots of channels that are dealing with those kind of issues and about being taking care of yourself from a legal and financial point of view. There's lots of those ways, lots of those videos that are available. But what I wanted to do is I said, okay, what are three core, you can't miss them, issues, questions that 60 plus are facing? And I came up with the sense of invisibility, relevance, and integration. Let me share what those are because they are going to be the threads, to strings, to cords, to rope through Solace Grove. And each of the persons that you'll meet, they'll have aspects of that, but bringing deeper, richer, kinder, better, wiser stories to the foreground. But the three main issues that I saw was invisibility was sometimes as you get older, people sort of dismiss you, that ageism story that pops in and you feel like you're being ghosted. People don't notice you. You just sort of there, but no one's really engaging with you, that kind of idea. Maybe yourself, you have some self doubt and you don't feel as though you should put yourself out there as much. And invisibility creeps in that then leans into this feelings of relevance. Am I relevant? Am I contributing? What do I contribute? Um, does anything that I have or done matter to anyone? And there are questions like that that pop up, and you start looking at it from a relevance point of view. And then there's this integration, which is of all the things that I've learned, and there are others who are coming along. And yes, I know about all these technology platforms, the conversations that could take place about conservation, about reciprocal hospitality, about wholeness, about the things that I have learned to fill in, right? What is maybe missing in people's lives, this intergenerational conversations. And how do I do that now? Because often when I think about it, except for magazines for 60 plus, most magazines are always tailored to the young, the vibrant, the new innovations. Yep, there's something to be said for what it is that I know as 60 plus, 70, that could be of value, that gives me a sense of relevance, that brings me out of a sense of, okay, invisibility to being visible, being able to share my voice, my authority, my mastery, my position, and doing it in a safe way so it doesn't do harm to others, doesn't do harm to myself. And that's what I wanted to bring forward, is to really get into that and doing it through Solace Grove. So instead of coming and building a chateau or a stone building in somewhere in Europe, or going on a cruise or a van trip all across Canada, you get to visit and engage with the online magazines that will be created, the videos that will be shot. Some of them will be about background, about how to do this. Often it's about the foreground conversations of the characters, and you come to learn about living a legacy life. And I thought that that's how I would do it. And in the videos to follow, I'll bring lots more to the foreground for you. Some of them will be short and impactful, others taking story and working with it, or you get to meet Maria, the baker, and Panay, the community center manager, and Walter, a legacyant, a person who has been interacting with legacy and has brings the recent legacyant together, the stories and how others might find that path for themselves. So there's a lot of really wonderful things that I'd like to bring forward in a way that I believe has a bit of novelty, drama associated with it, and having fun and interacting with you. Maybe you can help write some of it. Maybe there's ideas that you think could be developed. Maybe I could interview you as a real world example of something that's happening. I have a way in which I'm doing that, and as if you jump in and follow what's happening. And one of the next videos is I'll explain where everything is. Then join us, because what's happening here is I know that I'm grateful for you listening to at least this point. Okay. Thank you for that. And if something stirred in you today, having watched this, let me know in the comments section, because I would love to learn with you, because it will stimulate myself, because it's a form of an investigation, an interpretation. From it, I can gain ideas and insights that I can bring forth, because at the core of this, we're learning together. And that adventure together is so beautiful. I understand my unique journey, I get that. But now, as I start to look at the creation of community and the different kinds of community and the network that's available, oh, I look forward to that and being with you. So, with that, always and in all ways, take care. As you view the screen, what's popping up in the top right is a video that is recommended for you based on your viewing preferences. So enjoy. And then below that is prompts for the playlist shorts. And these are just great ways to tap in and very quickly ideas and insights for journaling, thinking through your legacy.